Why? No, really, always say why. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode in this home studies series all about the B1 PET exam. My name is Fiona and I am a teacher, an English teacher. I have been for the last 12 years. And I also work as a Cambridge examiner. So today I'm going to be sharing some juicy secrets with you all about the speaking part of the exam. So let's get into it. Later on in this video, I'm going to share with you a couple of phrases that I often hear from students in speaking exams that just give me the cringe and make me wonder, what was your teacher thinking? So stick around if you want to know what those are and make sure you don't make the same mistakes. So what to expect on the day of your speaking exam? Well, typically the speaking part of the B1 test takes place on a different day to the rest of the parts, to the reading, writing, and the listening. You will arrive at the centre approximately 30 minutes before the start time of your test. And that gives you lots of time to present your documentation, to meet the person who you are going to be doing the exam with. You have a partner, you have another student who does the exam at the same time. Then you will be invited into the room with the examiners. Now, there are two examiners. The first is the person who is speaking to you and asking you the questions. This person is called the interlocutor. Then the other person is the assessor. Okay, so we have the interlocutor and the assessor. Typically, the room will be organized so that you and the other student sit across a table from the interlocutor so that they can easily see you and pass you the documents or photos or questions or whatever they need to. The assessor will be sitting a little further back and slightly to the side. You do not need to interact directly with the assessor. Just a quick hello, thank you is always welcome. As a speaking examiner myself, I'm going to share a juicy secret with you now. And that is that the interlocutor, the person who is speaking and is asking you the questions during your speaking exam, probably isn't really paying much attention to what you're saying. That person has a lot of other things that they're trying to concentrate on. The examiners have a very strict script that they must follow, as well as timings that they have to keep track of. So that's why you might see a little clock on the side of their table. The person who is really paying attention to what you're saying, and whether that be vocabulary, grammatical structures, your connectors, all of that, that person is the assessor. You really don't interact at all with the assessor, but they are the ones who are giving you ultimately your marks. You might see them making some notes on a piece of paper or putting information into a phone or into a tablet. We've recently started using an app to record your results, so you might see them using a tablet instead of paper. But the assessor is really the one who gives you the majority of the mark. At the end of the speaking exam, the interlocutor, the person who you've been speaking to, will give to the assessor a general mark. So that's a general impression that they have of your speaking, how well it flowed, how well you maintained the conversation, their general impression. But the detailed marks come from the assessor. Prepare certain more complex phrases or expressions in advance. You have probably been preparing for this exam for some time, and you will be more or less familiar with the types of activities that you are going to have to do. Therefore, why not take advantage and prepare some specific phrases that you know will apply to those situations. For example, in part 2, in the photo description task, why not say, this photo was taken outside, for example, or inside, using the passive form instead of saying, in this photo, I can see. Okay, both answers are correct, grammatically fine, but the passive, introducing the passive as a more complex form, shows that you at least have some awareness of it and you are starting to be able to use it. Also, in part 3, during the conversation part of the task, you could use the phrase, if I were you, to give a suggestion or to give your own opinion of what someone else would do in that situation. So these sorts of fixed phrases that can apply to multiple contexts can be really useful. And I know, for one thing, as for me as an examiner, it's often quite obvious when a student has prepared these phrases in advance, but that doesn't really affect their mark. Okay, it has a positive effect, not a negative effect. It's perfectly fine for you to prepare in advance, and that shows that you are trying to take your English to the next level. So the examiners want to see what you can do, not what you can't do. So why not? At B1 level, the expectations for your pronunciation is really that you can be understood. The examiners can understand you and the other student can understand you. So you should be able to pronounce the individual sounds within the words and have more or less appropriate word stress and sentence stress. That should be enough for you to have a pass at B1. However, I would recommend trying also to focus a little on your variation of pitch and trying not to sound monotonous. I know when I have students who come into the exam and speak to me like this, it's not very interesting, and I quickly lose interest in what they are saying. Wouldn't you? So trying to introduce more variation in your pitch and paying attention, especially if you're asking questions, making sure that the pitch goes up to indicate that it's a question and down to indicate if it's a statement. There are some general rules for this in English that may be slightly different to how they are in your country. So pay attention to that. Maybe try watching some YouTube videos or some videos on Netflix or on Prime or English television in general to give you an idea of the natural flow of the language. That will help give the impression to the interlocutor that your English is more fluent and more natural sounding. And remember, the interlocutor is giving you, at the end of the exam, is giving you an overall grade, a grade based on their overall general impression of your speaking. That can help bring that up. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification. If you didn't understand the question, ask. The first time, if you mishear or you're not sure you understood, you can say, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Or I'm sorry, I'm not sure I quite understood. Could you tell me that again? Okay, these expressions are perfectly acceptable. We hear them in exams very frequently, and normally this doesn't affect the student's mark. What might affect the student's mark, however, is if they don't ask for clarification and then give an answer that is incorrect or not related to the question that they were asked. If you ask the examiner for clarification, they repeat the question, and you still don't really understand what they are asking you, don't worry, this happens. I would recommend saying, I'm sorry, I'm still not quite sure I understand, but I think, and then give your response to what you think they are asking you. That indicates that you recognize that you didn't fully understand it, but you're trying to ask for clarification, you're trying to give your best response. So in that situation, that's what I would recommend. Why? No, really, always say why. I cannot overestimate that enough. Always give a reason for your answer. It's quite probable in the exam, the interlocutor will ask you a question that requires really only one word answer. For example, do you like to go to the beach at the weekends? Yes. Okay, technically, that's the answer to that question. But if you do not elaborate, you don't give a reason or you don't give justification for your answer, the examiner will always ask why. So when you are preparing for the test, always try to give a reason for your response. No matter how simple you think it is, no matter how obvious you think the why is, always give it. If not, the examiner is going to ask you for it anyway. Fluency or accuracy? What is more important at B1 level? Well, to be honest, in my opinion, I would have to say fluency, especially at this level. Later on, if we're getting into C1, C2 level in particular, then yes, accuracy is necessary. At B1 level, really the objective is for you to be able to speak in English in a range of different day-to-day contexts. Okay, you're able to share your ideas and opinions, to understand what other people are saying to you, to ask for information. And really, if you make a small mistake with your grammar while you are doing that, it's not the end of the world. If it's something you are very nervous about, then try to focus on giving your best response in the next part of the exam or the next question. The examiners are always trying to give you marks for what you can do, not what you can't do. So demonstrating that fluency and that ability to maintain the conversation is important. Okay, it's time for some cringy phrases. Please don't make these mistakes in your exam. The first one is, I am agree. Please don't ever say it. It's not correct. The correct version, it would be, I agree, simply, or I agree with you. Or if you want to add extra emphasis, you can say, yes, I do agree. However, I am agree, nope, never say it. Every time I hear it, it makes me go, The second thing that kind of gives me the cringe as a speaking examiner is when students use idioms, idiomatic expressions that are outdated. An example of this that I do sometimes hear students use is, it's raining cats and dogs. This is a fairly well-known English idiom. In England, Scotland, and Britain in general, we have a lot of rain. So we have lots of expressions to say that it's raining. However, Be careful with the idioms that you choose because some of them are just not that common and very outdated, and they, to the examiners or to any native speaker, they sound very strange and it's not something that we would use day to day. So of course, yes, incorporate idioms into your speaking. That is a great thing, but please be careful with the ones that you choose. Check with your teacher how common or how modern the expressions that you're practicing are. Because if not, And that brings us to the end of another video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to leave a comment down below. Is there anything else you have been wondering about your speaking exam? Anything you would like me to talk about in future videos? Leave a comment down below. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Home Studies channel and click the little notification icon so you get an alert every time we have a video coming out. Been a pleasure. Bye.